Oh boy. Alright, here we go, guys. This one might be a little controversial because this is one of the most divisive topics in the history of modern gaming. There will be a lot of you who really like what I have to say today, and then there will be a lot of you who will absolutely hate what I have to say about matchmaking today. And it's for that reason that I actually suggest that you maybe scroll down to the comments section while you let this video play, because what's going on down there is probably going to be infinitely more entertaining than what's going on up here. Because today, I'm going to give you the full report with post-match screens, third-party app tracking info, and gameplay from the matches I'm having now that skill-based matchmaking has landed in the quick play playlist in Destiny 2. But before you scroll down, first do me a solid and let me thank the sponsor making this video possible today. And this sponsor, it's not some like weird, lame mobile game. It's actually something that I think that you're going to be able to get a lot of use out of. It's Outplayed. What if I told you there was a convenient way to capture, edit, and share your best gaming moments for free? Today's sponsor, Outplayed, does exactly that. This program supports over 300 games and allows you to customize what it records and keeps for you, including kills, headshots, wins, and more. Or if something cool happens, you can hit a hotkey to save that moment for later. Then, Outplayed lets you immediately trim, edit, and share your clips to Twitter, YouTube, Discord, anywhere your audience and friends are. If your favorite content creator recommended a build or a gun, you could easily clip a big play that you made with it and tag them, or quickly broadcast your favorite moments to your own fans without all the trouble of sifting through a 20-minute battle royale match to find that one team wipe. Let Outplayed do the unfun work for you so you can focus on fragging out. Use my link down below to download Outplayed, and that link will let them know that I sent you. Alright, let's get back to Destiny. Okay, and now for the main event. I'm going to give you guys the full report on what's happening for me in PvP so far. So this is after spending about 15 hours in quick play with the new matchmaking this week. Now, a couple of things to say up front, so you don't go rush into the comments section to type in all caps and be all patronizing. First, yes, this is the first week of the new season. I am aware of that fact, and I am considering it. We don't know exactly how things are going to settle later in the season. I've already gotten that comment a lot on Twitter. TV, it's only been a few days. Chill out, homie. But that being said, one thing that's important to remember is that the PvP active player count average, okay, it does not historically actually go up in the weeks after launch week. You know, a lot of people say, hey, everyone's grinding the new event, so they're not in PvP. And the reality is that that's not actually statistically true. In previous seasons, the average player count, it usually stays about the same, or it even starts to drop off a little bit after the first reset. So to say, just wait, it'll change when more people start playing PvP, that comment is based off of a false assumption from the get-go. The next thing that I need to say up front, I have openly said on Twitter that I can only report on my experience. And that is my truth. That's the PvP that I live in. I cannot testify to your experience or anyone else's. I fully accept the fact that there will be those of you that write in the comments section below, hey, TV, my experience has been so much better than previous seasons. I'm actually having fun in PvP again, and it's amazing. I love this matchmaking. I fully accept that that will be the reality for many of you, and I do believe you when you say that. And my goal is not to ruin your experience. I'm not out here to sabotage an experience that you are loving. But what I can do is give a report on what it's like on the higher end of the skill gap as a solo player. I almost never play with anyone else in quick play, with the rare exception being the occasional PvP session with my good friend KJ Hovey as we catch up. But for me, my favorite way to game is to play quick play, pub matches, and play offbeat, creative builds, try out new guns, what's new this season, what new exotics came out, what can I do with them. That's fun gaming for me. I don't sweat and pub stomp or stack or avoid mercy rules to stomp noobs or any of that. Almost all of my PvP sessions are live streamed, so those who watch my live streams can testify to that truth of that statement. Now, without being too dramatic, I can definitively say that my favorite way to play Destiny is dead in the water right now. Unless something changes, I can't play Destiny the way that I love to. And that feels bad. And before you roll your eyes, let me qualify that claim. My match quality has absolutely tanked. Now, I don't mind playing good players. I do it all the time. I stream, sometimes comp, a lot of times trials, like every week. I don't mind playing good players. But my issues with the new matchmaking aren't about that. It's not about the skill of the enemy team. Let me list some problems that I'm running into. First, there's a new trend at this end of the skill gap for players to leave matches in almost, and I am not exaggerating, in almost every single match I play. I'm often going through 9 to 10 different teammates in a single match. 9 to 10, with teammates constantly cycling in and out of the match. That means that for the majority of the match, I'm outnumbered because it's just this rotating door of someone loads in, they see what's going on, and they leave, and a different person loads in, they see what's going on, and they leave. Or maybe the same person joins back to the same match, and they immediately leave again, and that's more time that I'm without a teammate, and I'm outnumbered. So not only am I playing against a full team of players around my skill level, but there are more of them than there are of us. Lobby balancing still works, so I tend to get the lesser skilled players in the lobby on my team, so they leave. It's a sweat fest, and they don't want to stay, so they leave, and I can't blame them. Now, in the gameplay here, this is a match where I had teammates they kept leaving until I was literally the only person left on my team, alone in a 1v6 with several minutes left in the match. And since it's just me, it's going to take a long time for this match to end, because the only way to rack up more points is for them to get kills on the enemy team. They've got the zones, so they just need to get kills to get points now. So no more teammates joined, and so for several minutes I was basically like James Bond in Casino Royale. I was sitting naked in a chair while a bunch of dudes took shots at my perfectly manscaped jewels, and I just had to take it. Now, many of you are rushing to the comments section to smugly say, well, TV, why didn't you just leave the match, you idiot? And that's a fair question. Let me explain something to you, though. At this end of the skill gap, the player pool is much, much smaller, because there are far fewer players in the upper echelon than there are in the average player pool. That's just a statistical fact. So if I leave a match early, the chances are actually pretty decent that I'm gonna re-queue and end up right back in the same match that I just left. In fact, this particular match, 2 of my teammates who left re-queued, and their names popped up in the feed as joining right back into the same match seconds later, and they had to leave a second time, which really only reinforces my point further. Now, when I was the only one left on the team, sure, I could have left, and I think it probably would have just killed the match and given them the victory, assuming no one else was actively joining at the time. But I also knew I was going to be making this video. I was like, let me just show them what I have to deal with. I'll play it to the end. I'll just show these people my reality. So now, after that match ended, I felt like I had paid my dues. I stayed put. I took the beating, I tanked my KD, I fought an unwinnable fight just like the Alamo, and I thought that maybe the powers that be would smile on me and have mercy and compassion, so I re-queued. And the very next match, I load late into a match in progress against a 6-stack that intentionally avoided capping to avoid the mercy rule and then just farmed. And you could tell, I could see it happening in real time. They would literally call me out when they saw me, and they would all abandon any capture point they were in, any engagement they were in, they would all abandon it. And a mob of guardians would corner me and gang up on me and teabag furiously and shoot my body and everything. I mean, problem number 2, beyond people leaving matches consistently, you also now have this problem at this end of the skill gap where players know that quick play is essentially 6v6 comp at legend rank. So now they come prepared. They'll get a full stack, they'll get a full team up and running, they'll play like there's money on the line or a holographic Charizard or something. I have never run into more 6-stacks in my life than I have in the past few days alone. As a solo player, that really, really sucks. At this level, it literally means that the match is over before it starts. A 6-stack of communicating players who came ready to win will always win against solos who aren't talking, and many of them have a new seasonal gun on. They're just trying it out or whatever, and that leads to more people leaving matches. Now, there's a statement that is basically, it's like a copy pasta at this point, just floating around the community now across Twitter, Reddit, YouTube comments, etc., where people are saying something along the lines of, well, now you get a taste of what it's been like for us for years. And I want to say a few things about that statement. first and foremost, respectfully, is bullcrap. It is literally objectively different. There is a difference between connection-based, where you get a wide variety of skill levels present in one lobby. Now follow me here. The top 1% are the top 1% because there are so few players that play at that level. That's how percentages work. So the chances of you matching a top 1%er, they were low. They were really low, but it might happen. In fact, you might get 1 or 2 players that are elite players, maybe not the top 1%, but the top 5%. You might get some elite players in your connection-based lobby, and they might completely frag out. Yeah, that happened. That is a thing that would happen in quick play, for sure. But that is not the same thing as having teammates abandon you almost every match, while your entire enemy team is 6 players at the elite performance level of gamer, who came with their best loadouts on, with their best characters, their best builds in quick play. It is objectively not the same. And I'm not being insensitive. I do understand that you probably had some frustrating matches when those outliers were present in your lobbies. Those could probably be pretty frustrating games. The good news is if you left that match and requeued, you probably would not be thrown back into the same match. Chances were pretty low at that point, and your chances of having a perfectly fine lobby were really high. So my chances of that happening right now are not. It's just not the same. It's objectively very different. So I understand the statement people are making, but I think it's disingenuous. It's vindictive also against players who had, frankly, nothing to do with the problem. It might be vindictive against some of the people who did have something to do with the problem. Sure, some of the elite players can be real D-bags, if we're being honest. Not all of them. And it also makes the assumption that elite players are mad about having to play elite players, when that's not even the primary thing people at that level are upset about. Some of them are upset about that, but it's not the primary thing. If you recall, I have actually been a proponent for outlier protection for a long time now. I've been pushing for Bungie to keep, on a scale of 1 to 10, keep 1 and 2 skill level players out of lobbies with 9s and 10s in them. I didn't want those stomps to happen. And I also have pushed for team-based matchmaking to protect solo players from stomps against full stacks too. So I've been trying to actively push for a middle ground for a long time now. And I knew full well that would make things more challenging for me in quick play, and I don't mind ramping up the difficulty a bit, but this is not ramping up the difficulty. It is consistently putting me in a situation where it feels like a major league player showed up, for an MLB baseball game, and after the 3rd inning, his entire team just leaves, and the coach tells him he's got to keep playing. So he has to pitch the ball, and then he's got to go cover first base, but first he has to actually field the ball. I mean, you get the idea, and he has to do all of that against a full team of major league players. He's good. He's good enough to make it to the big leagues, but he's not a god, and he's not even the best of the major league players, but he has to play like one if he's going to survive. That has been my experience so far. And I say that with an asterisk. Again, I understand I'm going to keep playing and see if anything changes, but so far, that is my experience. I have to play like a god, or it's going to be bad for me and my teammates. And then the matches that aren't like this, some of them are actually the opposite, right? Some other poor soul on the other team is put in the position that I was for a few matches, and now I'm just running around the map with a full team of blueberries just looking for someone to shoot, and the matches drag out because the enemy team keeps leaving the match. All in all, the quality of my matches has tanked considerably. It's not placebo. It is objective. It is definitive. Every now and then, I do have a good tight match that feels really competitive and the score is close. Those do happen too. I'm not going to say that there's no decent matches. I have those from time to time too. But even those feel like grand finals tournament matches, and it does get exhausting. You know what I mean? So I'm not a huge fan of Rumble, but I've actually been going there lately instead because there are a few things that can't happen there. First, I can't match stacks there who are just trying to stomp. Second, I don't have teammates who leave me alone in the match. If someone leaves the match, it does not matter to me. It doesn't affect me. This severely limits my playstyle, though, to one that's purely meant for dueling, which is, it's fun for a little while, but it's not my favorite way to play the game. So that's my experience so far. What's your experience been like? Have you been finding the changes good personally? Has it been a dramatic improvement? Has it felt like there's no change maybe? Or is your experience kind of like mine? Let me know down below. I'd love to chat about it. I know it's pointless to try to moderate the discussion, but please, you guys, at least try to be kind to people who don't see things the same way that you do. I know even I have to remind myself to do the same sometimes because, frankly, it's really hard sometimes to fathom how someone can't understand my point and concede it. If we're being honest, we all kind of feel that way sometimes, but we're all different people with different experiences and therefore different realities. So let's try to be excellent to one another. If you enjoyed the video, hey, would you do me a favor and leave a like on it so that I know what kind of content you like to see from me? And feel free to subscribe for additional Destiny 2 content. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible.